Hello, everyone, and welcome to Therapeutic Tuesdays podcast. And every Tuesday, I am super excited and super honored because we are on a mission to get you on fire for Jesus Christ. We are seeing the problem that we see is that people are not able to live life abundantly. And guess what? The answer to it is Jesus Christ. He died on that cross for you so you can live life abundantly. And this is a year of Therapeutic Tuesday to have some awesome guests come back on. And Ann-Gela and I actually met at church on the Rock, and she is a friend to me and a friend of the family. Ann-Gela Holloway is a virtuous woman of God. She is an author. She is a mother. She is a content creator. And she is an overcomer and a conqueror. Ann-Gela, welcome to Therapeutic Tuesdays podcast. How are you?
I am so excited to be here, blessed and honored that we get a chance to talk again. So thank you so much for thinking of me, and thank you for doing what you do. I know it's not easy to continue year after year or month after month even to do what God has called you to do. So I pray that you're encouraged and that this episode and all episodes are blessed and meet all the souls that are supposed to see it.
Oh, Ann-Gela, thank you so much for that. I love when we pour out on each other. So I receive it. Oh, and Ann-Gela, you look wonderful. I'm loving the hair.
Thank you. Big hair, don't care.
I love it. I love it. Oh, and audience, we are thankful that you're here. Thank you for joining us right here on Red Media Radio at 7 p.m. every single Tuesday. And thank you to everyone on YouTube. Y'all know how we do. We're going to add the special effects, and Ann-Gela's information is going to be linked above and in the show notes. And we're here every Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the name of this awesome podcast episode is Giving in the Midst While You Are Grieved with God. The 3 G's, right? Giving, grief, and God. And Ann-Gela is truly an overcomer, and you're going to be blessed by her story. Ann-Gela, we're going to jump and dive right in. Can you take us over the course of your past life? You have had some obstacles, but God, you're only here smiling beautiful. Look like nothing happened to you because of God. And we're going to call this our overcoming audience. Let our overcoming audience know your past year.
Okay, thank you. So in this past year, and I can even go back 10 months. It hasn't even been a full 12 months of these things that are happened.
Wow.
I lost my dear sister, who was absolutely my best friend. We're close in age. We were about 1 year and 4 months apart, but not only close in age, we were close in relationship. My best friend. She passed away from breast cancer. That was in October. Then in December, our brother went into the hospital with heart conditions. He needs a heart transplant. He was born with a serious heart condition, had several surgeries as a baby and a child. It was projected or prognosed that he wouldn't live to be a teenager. And so now that he's 50, it's been a blessing, but his heart is going to need to be replaced. So he was in the hospital from December, I believe, until June. Hospital and then rehab. In between that time, our family had COVID twice. And not just twice, like back to back. In December and then again in February. I'm like, how do we get it like 4 weeks apart? In addition to having those things that I listed, let me go on. My son had a couple of serious asthma attacks, one that led him to his very first ever hospital stay. He wasn't happy. I had to be happy for him. We were able to hopefully get to the bottom line of what was triggering his asthma. But yeah, it was pretty serious. His oxygen levels were very low and he had to be hospitalized. That was in February. Then in June, my half brother passed away. And I only just designate him as the half brother because that was his relationship. He was the son of my dad, and not of my mom, but son of my dad, who we had a chance to meet as adults, thank God.
Yes.
And the first time I saw him in person actually was at our sister's funeral. He sadly passed away in June, the day after my birthday. And then as of last weekend, my mother, who's in her 70s, she had a fall. And you know, falls are serious, especially in that age. And she is hospitalized with serious conditions, but doesn't seem to be life threatening. And so I don't even know if I touched on everything, but I'm sure that's a lot. And that's been since October. So those are the things that's happening. And I will tell you this, our family isn't prone to illness and injury. We're not. I haven't stepped foot into a hospital probably since my son was born. He's 11. And
Wow.
so for this year to have had so many visits to emergency rooms, hospital, cancer centers, hospice, it's like, what, God? What? And so every time I say, I can't take one more thing, boom, here comes one more thing.
Mm. I mean, Angela, you don't even look like what you have been through over the last 10 months. Even just sitting here, you just still exude radiant in God's grace.
Yes, thank you. Because every time I say I can't take one more thing, here's what God says.
Mm.
He says, yes, you can. But not that he's trying to overload me with stuff. He's like, you could never handle any of it. All of it, I can handle for you.
Ooh.
So God has me. He has us.
Mm.
And I can honestly say that because you see what I've been through, but God has us.
That is so powerful. And a lot of times they say when the enemy is attacking, there's a lot of tests before that breakthrough comes. And I know, and I want to send condolences out, Angela, to you specifically over the family members that you have lost. We just want to acknowledge that, and we're just keeping you in prayer because as women, as men, we all need prayer. The more prayer, the more power.
Thank you for that. And I think I would like to note that my mother has lost two children. We had a brother that passed about 20 years ago. He was the eldest in our family. He passed 20 years ago, and now my dear sister. My dad has now lost three children. So anyone who's ever had to bury a child or children, right, to lose more than one is devastating. So definitely keep my parents in prayer. Thank you.
Yes, we are keeping them in prayer. And audience, oh, Angela, I know our overcoming audience is saying, how do you wake up in this morning? What are you doing? What did you do? And I always say, with God, all things are possible. But why you are in this adversity, how has God, what has your days looked like to help you get up to be strong for your family and strong for your family and weak in God?
Thank you. So I would say this. Sometimes Christians have a habit of acting like nothing's bothering them,
Mm.
or even burying our heads in the sand because we don't want to see what's going on. And if I have to offer a piece of advice, the advice would be to acknowledge what's happening, sit in it. I've pulled my car over and cried many a days because, as anyone who's experienced grief knows, it comes out of nowhere. A song will come on the radio, and it could be a song from like the 80s when I was growing up, and it instantly brings me back to childhood. And every childhood memory, my sister was right there. So a song comes on the radio, and suddenly grief has overtaken me. And so, you know what? I'll pull over when possible, and I'll cry it out. And I'll say, God, this hurts. I'm not going to just, oh, I'll be strong, just keep driving. I'll say this hurts. Or I'll say, I miss you, Jen. That was my sister's name. And I'll acknowledge it. I'll sit in it. I have a support system. Get you a support system, folks. Get you some people that you can call and say, I'm not okay. Better yet, or in addition to, get you some praying friends, because they'll call you first
Come
and be
on now.
like, God put you on my heart. God put you on my spirit. Sis, I'm letting you know it's going to be okay. Sis, come get in the car. I'm taking you to lunch. Here's a cup of coffee. Right? So it's not about acting like it didn't happen or doesn't bother me. Sit in it. Acknowledge it. Yeah, because when I'm weak, God is strong. So I have no problem saying, Daddy, right now I'm weak. And so that's how I've been able to get through it. When life hits you with things, it shows you the strength that you didn't know you have.
Yes.
Right? Um, I never planned a funeral. I never, a lot of things have happened, and I don't want to take up time, but just a lot of the things that happened, death, I'm not familiar with it. When my brother passed away 20 years ago, he died without children. Had not been married. He didn't have property. So his funeral, especially on the financial side, was more just paying for the funeral and the burial and grieving. My sister, on the other hand, was a lot older, has a daughter, has property, has money, belongings, a lot of things to handle. She also died knowing she was going to die. So there was the power of attorney and working with her in hospice to sign things over. A lot of that, not familiar with. And it's a lot. It's a toll to call her job and say she's dying, to call the place where her car loan is and say, you need to come get her car, and that she was leasing, she's gone. That's a lot.
Right.
And I wasn't familiar with a lot of it. And so the strength that I didn't know I had, the skills that I didn't know I had showed up. They showed up when I needed it. And the skills of others, because people step in and find their lane and they help you out. And it just shows you all the more how great God is and how he really does supply all of our needs.
That is just so powerful. And I just commend the God in you, Ann-Gela, to just get up every single day. And that's why I named it Giving While You're Grieving, because you're grieving, but you had to get up and give. You're a mother. You have to give to your son. You have to make sure that your household is taken care of. You have to go to work. So you're constantly, and then you have to take care of yourself. Were there some moments, Ann-Gela, where you just was like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to just do whatever tonight just for self-care during this time?
Oh, yes. Often. We watched, my son, during this time, my son and my niece, my sister's daughter, I watched so many shows. I'm not a big TV person, but we got into watching Survivor, and we got into watching a couple of other shows. And so I looked forward to those episodes coming out every week and sitting there watching and cracking up with these people trying to survive on the island. Just things to really not only just take my mind off of things, but really enjoying what life is about. Because one thing I've learned is in this life, all we really have is people. We have God, and we have people.
Yes.
You can have all your money. That's great. Have your money. But people are the real currency, for sure. And so spending time with our loved ones, making memories, living a life of integrity. I always tell people that when you die, people are going to say very good things about you at your funeral. So live a life so that it's absolutely true. No one has to lie at your funeral. Live a good life. And so when folks say good things, it's true.
Oh, Ann-Gela, I love what you said. That was pivotal. Mic drop. People are the currency. We're the ones that make the world go round. Those memories, those are priceless. Oh, sister of God, you just blessed us with that audience. I pray y'all had your tea in your journal. You took note of that, because sis you just dropped the mic. And I want to tell you, overcoming audience, God never said it would be easy, but he said he will never leave you or forsake you. His word does not come back void. And as Ann-Gela was talking about her grief, there was attack after attack. It reminds me, and if you can, go check out the chapter on Job. But Job went through he went through from having a family, from having a land, to have an abundance harvest where he lost it all. And God blessed him for everything. And I always say this, he got double, triple for his trouble. So I encourage you to read that, because a lot of times what helps me is when we're going through something in life, a Bible character has really been through it and they can really reach out. So as Ann-Gela's grieving and getting through it, that this came to my spirit. And Ann-Gela, what would you say if someone asked you, sis, what is one or a couple of your favorite Bible verses that really assisted you during this time, that maybe you meditated on day and night and said, all right, God?
All right. So one of my favorite scriptures is actually one that I signed. Like when I published my first book, I signed everyone with this. It's a short one. It's not the Jesus wept one, but it's shorter. It's short like that. Luke 1:37. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. If you can recall, when the angel visited Mary and told her she was going to give birth, a virgin birth, she basically said, how's it going to happen? And the response was, for with God, nothing shall be impossible. So I'll tell whoever's listening, when you think, how's that going to happen? With God, nothing shall be impossible. How's the light bill going to get paid when I'm out of work for COVID? With God, nothing shall be impossible. How can I get up each day and have these people depend on me while I'm grieving? With God, nothing shall be impossible. And so that was one of the scriptures of all time, really. But it's funny how a scripture comes to new life when there's new situations and new circumstances, and it means even more. I know a lot of people will say, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And that wasn't my go-to scripture. It was definitely, Ann-Gela, if you try to do everything, you're going to be out of here too. So it was a season of his yoke is easy, his burden is light. For with God, nothing should be impossible. It was just like, okay, God. And God had to tell me what to do and how to do it. Some stuff I had to say no to. Some stuff I had to let go because there wasn't room for it all. And that's what helped me to navigate. It helped me to grieve, helped me still take care of the household, helped me to still work. I had to hear from God for sure. What do I do today? What do I not do today? Otherwise, I would have been overloaded, overwhelmed, and out of here. Honestly, because grief is a heavy weight. It wants to take you out of here too. I'll let you know. But I'm here and I'm surviving and thriving because of the grace of God and the instructions of God.
Surviving and thriving because of the instructions of God. I love that, Ann-Gela, because the solution is everything is with God. One of my favorite Bible verses too, when I was going through something, was definitely Romans 8:18. And it says, the pain that we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory that he'll provide to us later. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's just a reminder that God is always there. So I love that scripture. Just those reminders that to be strong for our family, strong where we can, but weak in God, so he can give us that strength. And oh my goodness, Ann-Gela, you are an overcomer. You're a conqueror. You're still going through this. You're still working out. You're still showing up every day. And you are invested in new endeavors. Tell us behind. You have this new moniker, which I'm loving, sis. Goes great with you, Auntie Anng. Let us know the story behind your transformation right now.
Yeah, so the story behind it, it's a simple one. I'm of age to be an auntie in the community, and your listeners probably know what that means, right? I'm not a grandma yet, but I'm not the pretty young thing, the PYT, but of that age to be considered an auntie in the community, right? And so the women before me, my mom, my grandmothers, great grandmothers, aunties, women I just knew in church and in life, they showed me how to be a woman. And so I gladly take the mantle and the banner of showing those younger than me how to be a woman. And so, dear Auntie Anng, that's my Instagram name. I'm going to at some point start doing more reels and posts where I'm just loving on the young ladies, giving encouragement, giving advice. That's a bit of a pause right now because I got a lot going on, right? However, that's me, Auntie Ann. It's just being an auntie to those that are younger than me and coming up and showing them the love and encouragement and guidance that was shown to me.
First of all, I love it. And then it has the 2H. And Auntie Ann, I'm speaking blessings over you that when the time is right, God will bless you with it. Because I think it's important as Christians too, we know our seasons. I was just saying that to my sister the other day. People are so quick to be like, oh, be an entrepreneur. Oh, go start this. Oh, you need to own. But I'm like, before you do that, you have to know your season. I know what my season is because I'm not ready for those bigger things yet. If I have a leak, I need to go call or my landlord, or if I have this and I got to get out of that. So I think it's so important to know your season. And when you said that, I love that, because when the season is right, you're going to have the time, the strength, be able to put it in your schedule. And it's not going to be a nuisance, but it's going to be a blessing, Auntie Ann.
Yes, your seasons. Listen, I say this all the time. That fur jacket, that leather coat, those boots are perfect for winter. But you go out there in the summer and wear that. One, you're going to be uncomfortable. And then two, if you don't take it off, you're going to be dead. It's going to overheat you. So it's perfect for the winter, but in an opposite season is the absolute worst thing to put on. So yes, you got to know the seasons. You got to know the timing of God for your life.
Oh, so good. And Ann-Gela, you have author behind your name. And I mean, audience, I'm gonna let her talk about it, but I read her first book, absolutely amazing. Ann-Gela, tell us about your books and your values. If the audience member is like, hey, I want to read a new book, how can you bless them, Auntie Angie, with your knowledge?
Thank you. So the first book is called Let Me Tell You What I Know. And I'll tell you what that title is. It's not me being arrogant or conceited. It's me having this book idea for about 5 years before I actually finished writing the book. But I was afraid to write it because the doubt set in, right? Like, who am I? Who are you to write a book? You're not a PhD. What do you know? What do you have to give? And God kept pressing on me to write the book. So much so, I was at a women's conference, just minding my business, and the speaker of the day got up to speak. She said like 2-3 minutes of her sermon, and then she stopped, called me out in the audience, and had a word for me. She said a lot, but the first thing she said to me was, God said the book must be written in this season. Those words touched me like somebody had hit me with a truck, because nobody knew I was writing a book. I didn't even know. I was little post-it notes here, notebook there, not a book. But because she said that, or God said that through her, I was like, God, I need to write this book. Because I'll be real with you, we don't live forever. And I didn't know if God was giving me the heads up. Write this book before it's your time to go. And so I take my purpose seriously. And I said, I got to write this book. God said so. And so I still didn't know what to say or who was I to write a book. And so I wrote this line in the book, and it just says, this book is about what I know. It's not about what I don't know. When I know more, I'll write more. And that was like, I had to get that out. And then the rest of the book just flowed, because no, I'm not an expert on life. I'm not an expert on anything, but I have lived, and I'm telling you about my life and the lessons that God has shown me through my mistakes and through my triumphs. And I'm just here to share it with someone else. So encouraging to, if you want to read the book, people are saying it's a blessing, and I thank God for that. I'm also encouraging those who want to write, go ahead and write the book. Somebody needs to hear your story. Nothing in God's economy is wasted. So the pain, the abuse, the embarrassment, the shame, the mistakes, none of it is wasted. So if it's on your heart to write a book, write the book. And if you want some encouragement, you can read mine. Let me tell you what I know. My picture's on the front cover. and it's available on Amazon.
Ah, and I want to tell y'all, overcoming audience, I've been blessed to read it. It is truly a blessing. And Ann-Gela is very transparent. And I think that is so important. And that's what we're here on the podcast, is not to say, oh, life is perfect because we're Christians. No, we're going to have our days. But God is a perfect God, and he's going to get us through that trial and tribulation. So make sure y'all sow a seed into Ann-Gela's awesome ministry. That book will truly bless you. Everything that you are doing, Ann-Gela, is truly God-centered, and that just warms my heart.
Thank you. And like you said, we're not perfect. Most of us, or I can speak for myself, we've done it without God long enough, right? We've done it the other way, so we know. And I didn't talk about the second book. I'm a part of a collaboration. In this season, listen, ain't no way to write a whole book, but I'm thankful that someone I connected with in the book publishing space reached out to me and asked me to be a part of a book collab. So there's 7 women. We each have a chapter, and the title of the book is Becoming Her. And so I think that's another book about transparency, right? The Ann-Gela you see today was not the Ann-Gela of 20 years ago. And I wrote a good story in the book about a time I got fired from a job. And it was not unlawful. It was not unwarranted. I did something to get fired. Yep, I did it. So you want to know what I did? Please read the book. But yeah, it was all me. It was all my fault.
It's so amazing what God could do, how he can take a situation, he could turn around and you be laughing later and just give him, and he gets all the glory. I love it.
Yes, yes.
Ann-Gela, where can the audience connect with you? What are all your social media handles so that they can follow you and see all the good news, the books that Auntie Anng has in store for our overcoming audience?
Yes, so I would love if you could follow me on Instagram. It's Dear Auntie Anng. Anng has 2 N's because that's how I spell my name. And follow me there, connect with me there. I'm also on Instagram, on Facebook under my full name. Not all of my posts are public, but I do have public posts that I open up to followers. Instagram is probably the best place. And so I would love, love, love to connect with you all.
Yes, make sure you follow Auntie Anng. Ann-Gela Holloway has so many blessings for you, and her name is spelled A-N-N. She has that hyphen, that beautiful G-E-L-A. So make sure you go follow her. And oh my goodness, Ann-Gela, as we wrap up this awesome interview, what is a seed that you want to drop to our audience so that way they can take it, they can water it, and they can grow as they're on this journey and they want to go about it with God? What would you say to that overcoming member?
Yes, I'll say to you this: life has pain. Okay, if you haven't learned by now, you're gonna know. Life has, but you had a purpose before you had pain. And the enemy would love for our pain to stop our purpose. But I want to just encourage you today. You have a purpose even before the pain. And in fact, believe it or not, God can use that pain to help you fulfill your purpose. So don't let the pain stop you. Listen, please grieve. Too many people are holding on to stuff that they need to express. Grieve, cry, get under the covers and snuggle up sometimes when you're not feeling well. Please do that. But don't ever let the pain stop you from your purpose. Don't. I lost a brother and a sister, and I dedicated both my books to them because their life has ended. I'm still here. So the best way to honor those that I love and have lost is to keep living and to keep living well. And living your best life is living the purpose that God has for you.
Oh, Ann-Gela, thank you. That is so true. This podcast, my motivational speaking was built out of pain, out of the pain from a divorce, out of the pain from a domestic violence, out of a pain that sits on my ovary, out of a pain of losing a loved one in the same year, back to back. But it is only God. And during that time, the following year, he said, Amber, this is what I want you to do after I got my health back, after I went to therapy. So you are so right. When you are in God, that pain will turn, he will turn it into your purpose, and your purpose will come your passion, and your passion will lead you to your profit in Jesus Christ's name.
Yes, yes. Don't let me run around this bedroom now. It's a real Pentecostal right now.
Ann-Gela, thank you for showing up on Therapeutic Tea Tuesdays podcast as the beautiful, as the blessed, as the transparent woman of God that you are.
Thank you so much for having me. And again, I'm so glad that you are walking in your purpose. Look how many people are blessed because of you. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness. Audience, make sure y'all follow Ann-Gela Holloway to be blessed. Oh, just to make it simple, on my Linktree /life coach Miss Star, it has all the tea on me, from podcasting, motivational speaking, to my Instagram, Facebook accounts. And join me here on Red Media Radio every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and Ann-Gela want to say thank you so much for watching, and we want to tell you, God bless you. And to everybody on YouTube, y'all know what we do. Go ahead down below and make sure your homework assignment is this: to say, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am an overcomer, and it is okay for me to grieve in this moment, because God is going to get you through. Ann-Gela and I are praying for you. Ann-Gela's information is linked, so you can click that link and just go ahead and be blessed by Auntie Anng. And I always say this, Ann-Gela, to the YouTube fam. I always say we are sending an abundance, an abundance of blessings your way. Thank you so much, Ann-Gela.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.